We are live at the Cream City crossover yet again. Another one. 131 128. The Milwaukee Bucks have defeated the Washington Wizards tonight. It is a Friday night after Thanksgiving, so your holiday weekend. You had your turkey, you had if you're JT, you had your steak. You've had all the ingredients. You're full. Your bellies are full. Everything's good. You're eating your leftovers tonight. But you had to go out if you're in Milwaukee and you see the Milwaukee Bucks go for an in-season tournament win, 131-128. Interesting. We're gonna have to talk about the in-season tournament because some interesting things happened in pool play tonight for the Milwaukee Bucks, but they do win it 131-128. Come on in to the room. We're going to have to talk about Chris Milton. We're going to have to talk about Brook Lopez as well, being our player of the game. You are live. We listen to the Cream City crossover. Again, I am the guru, Trey Crosby III.
JT.
You know what it is. We're in here. If you need to talk to us, tweet me, whatever you need, at TCIIIESQ. If you're listening or watching on Twitter, if on the YouTube show, get at me there. We're going to read some of your comments, obviously, on the show as we do every single night. Like, follow, subscribe, all that. The Cream City crossover. Again, the Milwaukee Bucks win it 131-128. Let's go through some of the stats to get you reset as this game finished tonight. Brook Lopez was the star of the show. 32 minutes, 39 points, 5 boards. Damian Lillard, 31 points, 10 assists, 7 boards. Looking like a true facilitator throughout the game tonight, 31 and 10. Giannis finishes with 31 and 9. John Tyus, did you know this is the first time in Milwaukee Bucks history that 3 players have scored over 30 points apiece? So a lot of the Bucks, well, I'd say the big 3 were cooking. Nobody else in double figures. Malik Beasley, as you pointed out this before the show, JT leads the Bucks in rebounding with 11. On the Washington side of things, they did not disappoint. Jordan Poole with 26 and 7. Tyus Jones 22, 7 and 7. And then you also had Kyle Kuzma putting in 22 and 4, and Corey Kispert with 20 points and 5 boards. He was also 6 of 10 from 3 for 60%. This one came down to the wire, JT. It came down late. Giannis hit some clutch 3 throws. Pat Connaughton missed a couple at the end of that basketball game. I don't understand how that took place. But again, it ended up being a fun night. I wasn't upset at it. I think the Bucks defense, there's a lot left to be desired. You go up 35 in the first, you give up 39 in the fourth. But what do we always say, John Tyus? If you get the Bucks to where you get me to a game, I don't care if it's the Washington Wizards, the Charlotte Hornets, the Boston Celtics, the Michael Jordan and Michael Jordan and the Bulls in '96. Get me to the end within 6 to 8 points either way of the Milwaukee Bucks, and I'm taking Giannis and Dame over everybody. I'm taking them over everybody. I promise you that. And again, it happened tonight. Now they did give up 39 points in the fourth, and I'll say this. I don't care. Low IQ basketball team, John Tyus. This is a low IQ basketball team. Giannis Antetokounmpo, low IQ basketball player. And again, I don't mean to get on the guys. It's after Thanksgiving. They did win the basketball game. I'll give them credit for that. But low IQ basketball all the way around. You saw when the Bucks are at their best, John Tyus, it's when at the end of those games, and that's why I like Dame and Giannis in the games. Now, Brook Lopez was cooking too. But it's at the end of games, it seems like Damian Lillard goes into attack mode. It's, this team is mine. We're running, we're spamming, pick and rolls. Brook Lopez, Giannis, come here, come get you something. And I'm going basket either way. I'm hitting shots either way. And it's mindless basketball. When this team doesn't have to think and it's give the ball to Dame and go two-man with Giannis or Brook Lopez or whoever, that's when they look great, and that's why I love them in 6 to 8 point games, because it's possession after possession after possession of that, and defenses cannot stop it. Now, throughout the rest of the game, I don't know what the hell they're doing. I don't know why they're doing it, but at the end of the games, they play very well like that. And then what ended up eventually happening was late in the basketball game. I don't know if they just tried to get Brook Lopez points, but Giannis got CTE, throwing up the ball all over the place, and I don't know what he was doing. And it just seems like, you have to do different things that you have to kind of figure out the mental part of the game, and that's where the Bucks just broke apart. You saw the three-pointer that Washington got. You saw the three-pointer that Washington got out of, I think it was Landry Shamet in the corner. That was Pat Connaughton and Damian Lillard. I'm sure we'll find out in the postgame who screwed up. But one of those guys, they both, I believe, went with Tyus Jones. Later, Shaman to the corner. I think he was just so wide open that he missed it, and it didn't go down. So, but it is what it is. I also thought Kyle Kuzma he went for a quick 2 late instead of trying to get a 3 up. I didn't understand that, especially how the Bucks were playing. But in any event, the Milwaukee Bucks get the win 131-128 over the Washington Wizards. You listen to the Cream City Crossover. We appreciate it. JT, what'd you see tonight?
Well, guys, this is a weird way. Those of you who are on League Pass or watching this thing, this was a weird game for the Bucks tonight, right? This is the I'll say this, right? Because I always want to start with the positives. I thought Giannis, Dame, and Brook in the beginning, you knew something was brewing there, right? When all three of them went into halftime in double figures, believe. Giannis had 15, Dame and Brook had 12 each at halftime. So you saw that going. You saw Brook obviously hitting shots at that point. Now, I did not expect a 27-point second half explosion from Brook Lopez, and I loved it, and we're going to get to that in a second here. But yeah, that first half, this is the second straight time the Bucks have literally been outshot from three from another team, right? On Wednesday, you saw the Celtics have almost double the amount of threes that the Bucks had at the halftime at halftime as well, and you saw that again tonight. Tonight I believe the Bucks had only made 5 3-pointers between the first two quarters, and I mean, quite honestly, against your decent 3-point, that's probably not going to get it. But I don't want to dwell on that too much because I think we have some other things that we want to talk about and tackle. So a couple things that I want to jump into. Obviously, Giannis, I thought he looked good tonight. Giannis, 75% from the free throw line, going 9 for 12. I will take that all day, any day, especially when that typically does not happen. Brook Lopez was 7 for 7 from the free throw line tonight. Absolutely remarkable. You got to take your hat off to him. And we'll talk about this too, but he had some impactful plays on the defensive end, and you saw that, right? You saw Brook be 7 feet tonight, and I just love it. I love it when you see big men do big men things. So credit to him. Don't think the Bucks got a whole lot of help from the bench tonight. I couldn't quite figure this thing out. Like, I didn't think anybody had really gotten to a groove coming off the bench. Bobby didn't. He just had some keyboards, but really didn't look great. Marjan, played about 13 minutes tonight. And he looked okay. Side note, Marjan, did you catch Marjan getting physical with Jordan Poole? I thought that was all right. I saw that, and I like it. And I liked it. I liked it because I felt like it shows we're not backing down. We're not backing down. Yeah, I bumped you. Jordan Poole flopped. Right, that was a flop. Come on, man. He flopped, and you want to get back in his face. And Marjan didn't back down. Credit to him. I love to see the young Bucks get out there and scrap. Yeah, but we'll jump into a little bit more of an analysis as we get to the show.
We'll definitely get into it. We'll talk about all of it. Got some comments coming in from you right now. Fruling's Effect says Brook Lopez with the monster game, and Giannis is a bit wobbly. Also comes in and says Dame ... time, and it was. Yep. We're obviously gonna have to talk about the Chris Middleton stuff, but we'll go through some other comments here. Marvin Lee, Light Seraph says Brook the real third option of the Bucks' big three. Dr. Griffin let Marjax play ahead of Pat. He has nothing more to give. His experience won't matter if he's a donut on D and can't even make his open threes consistently. Now he misses free throws too. I'm glad Griff is going to be forced to play Marjax. Filipino Freak says Giannis pissed me off. Y'all, I love the names here. He says Giannis pissed me off half the game and still dropped 31. LOL, -10 tonight. I'll have to look at that. Mark Wellner says not the prettiest win, but not worried about the defense till January. And at Amen Sharma says Bucks looked toothless defensively yet again. Make the trade for DFS/Caruso right now. And Yeen125 says, I wish the Bucks would stop giving me anxiety every time. A lot of concern about the anxiety that the Bucks have given them and those types of issues. Again, the Bucks gave up a lot of points to start this one off. It seemed like, and did you catch John the halftime interview with Josh Oppenheimer? And he comes out and they're asking him, why the slow start, what's happening? And his first word answer was turkey. He said turkey, and it's like, I mean, and I'll give the Bucks, like, for 1 second, I'll give them a, and I said this as well on Twitter, I'll give them a slight break because it is harder, right, as the home team coming off of a holiday. It's harder to be the home team than the road team. Because the road team, you're locked in, you're with your guys, you're focused, if you will. You're having to eat Thanksgiving on, I think a lot of people think that's tougher because you're not with family. No, it's tougher to be with family because you're on the road if you're Washington. You were in Milwaukee you're having to eat whatever, I'm sure it's decent food. They ain't eating bad in the NBA, but you're not getting mama's cooking, right? You're not getting your wife's cooking. You're not getting grandma's cooking, those yams and those. You're not getting that. For you getting whoever the team doctor, whoever they, not team doctor, but whoever the head chef or whoever has catered this meal, right? You're not
Right.
getting that home cooked meal that you're used to getting. And if you're the Bucks, you are. You are families all around. You might get, hey, there's 30 people in town. Hey, we want to come to y'all playing Friday. We want to come to the game. Now you got to call, get the ticket set. There's a lot more that goes into. It's kind of like the Super Bowl. There's a lot more that goes into it when you're the home team and there's a lot of people in town to see you and what have you. So there is something that goes into that. But again, I thought, it's a thing that should happen over the first half. It can't go on and linger throughout the entire game. And the Bucks defense is becoming a real, legit, major issue.
Oh, wholeheartedly. And to your point about the turkey, I don't know if is it an amino tryptophan or whatever it is that makes you lethargic or makes you lazy. And that could 100% could have been right. It also could have been the fact that some of these boys might have had a little henny last night. Might have had a little henny. Might have been playing spades. Might have been playing bones. Y'all know what time it is. Monopoly. If you want to fight, right? Like everybody there, you 100% could have been on that. I'm not really sure. What I will say tonight, though, is, and I think one of our listeners commented on this already. Yeah, look, our perimeter D. I was convinced that Kismet was about to go crazy. He was. I'm butchering a man's name. Kispert, my man from Washington.
Kispert,
Yeah. Corey Kispert. Yeah, I thought he was going to go crazy. I mean, he was like 5 for 7 from 3 in that first half, and we just did not have an answer. And it was like, wow, literally every time he caught that, okay, here we go, right? And so you saw it, and eventually the Bucks, just the threes stopped landing as frequently for the Wizards. But because I mean, we still saw this issue on Wednesday with the Celtics as well. Our perimeter defense is 100% a concern. The one thing I will say though is that one of our key solutions, which is Jay Crowder, which we think he's out, right? So do we make a trade? Do we need to make a trade? Can we use another guy who could defend on the perimeter? Absolutely, right? Are we looking at a situation where we don't have any solutions to any of these problems with the guys we got? No. I just want to keep that in mind.
Well, yeah, and again, I still think it's too early to talk to. In my opinion, it's too early to talk about trade. Again, it's something that you definitely now have to think about, and because again, it's becoming a problem. And for me, I do think the issue is point of attack defense on the perimeter. I think Beasley tries very hard, and again, to me, Beasley is a great addition off the bench. I really want that firepower coming off the bench and being able to shoot the ball and provide a spark offensively. I think that would be a tremendous lift for this basketball team. And again, I think there are gonna be times where he probably can close games as well. But too many straight line drives. You are starting to, again, the sample size is getting bigger now. You're at what are the Bucks? It's just 15, 16 games in now, and the Bucks are at 11-5 or whatever it is, and guys are still driving right to the basket, and it's contagious. It ain't just Beasley. It's Pat Connaughton they running by. It's
pretty much everybody.
At times it's Andre Jackson Jr. At times it's Marjon Beauchamp. Like they are running by everybody, and it's like the Bucks don't have a hard-nosed defender. And again, you talk about Jay Crowder, but Jay Crowder's out, and I agree with you. But they don't have that hard-nosed guy that's going to, that's going to sit in front of somebody, sit down, lock down, and play defense. And again, it continues to show. You're getting Jordan Poole having these nights. You're getting Tyus Jones, who's had like a season high or whatever it is. I mean, he loves playing the Bucks. Because why wouldn't you? And it's like, I think the Bucks do, again, those interior guys and Brook Lopez and Giannis patrolling the paint down low do a good job. I think, but you can't let guys get free runs at them. You gotta funnel those. And you talk about the 3-pointers from Corey Kispert and whatnot. Again, then there you got guys helping off ball that shouldn't be helping. You're not fighting through screens. That happened to Chris Middleton multiple times tonight, where you just don't fight through the screens well enough. And again, it creates open threes. It creates issues. It happens almost every single night, but the Bucks just have enough firepower to where they can hold it off. And tonight, like I said, it was the Brook Lopez show. The Bucks win at 131-128. Before and after says we can't make excuses. They struggled against a 2-12 team. Now, I will say this, and I'll say this, and I'll let you kind of run with this, John. Did they struggle against a 2-12 team? Yes, they absolutely did. But didn't Boston just lose the other night to Charlotte? I will say this. It happens. What I will what I will take is the fact that it seems like at every moment in clutch situations in clutch games, the Bucks defense or their offense seems to outplay whatever's going on the other side. Doesn't matter. They seem like they figure it out in those moments. And I thought tonight they did a decent job of that. Like you talk about the rebounding. You get them rebounds all day long. Oh, well, in the fourth quarter, here comes Malik Beasley. He got like 2 or 3 big ones late in that game to do that. So I will say that before and after is yes. Are the Bucks struggling at a lot of points and times in the games? They absolutely are. But when it comes down to it, you get late in basketball games. It doesn't matter if a team is 2-12 or a team is, as good as the Dallas Mavericks, or it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The Milwaukee Bucks, they come to play at those moments. We got to find a way to do this sideline to sideline, backboard to backboard for 48 minutes.
Well, I don't want to be overly optimistic here, but what I will say is that there's a little bit of beauty in the struggle, in the sense of, if you look at tonight, you look at the guys who stepped up in the aggregate, call it how we see it, the Bucks bench did not help them very much tonight, right? But, Malik Beasley, even though those shots weren't falling, he led the team in rebounds tonight, right? So you saw him play a role that you really have not seen out of Malik Beasley this season, but he leads the team in rebounds tonight. And then, and again, Brook Lopez, right? Like, you saw Brook Lopez explode for what I feel is one of the best games of Brook Lopez's career at this point, right? Like, literally, I mean, you can't, you're scoring 39 points. I don't know what Brook's career high is, but it can't be far off from that.
I believe that might have been his career high. Somebody let us know what Brook Lopez's career high is.
And so you 100%. You just saw people step up, right? You saw some beauty in the struggle, in the sense of, look at how well the Bucks shot. The Bucks shot almost 80% from the free throw line tonight, as well. And you saw Giannis, right? Giannis making key free throws, going 9 for 12 from the line. So there's some takeaways here, and basically what I'm saying here is that they found a way to win. And they found a way to win because there's some people who did some things that were typically uncharacteristic for them, and they found a way to get this thing done. And when you add that up in the aggregate, the Bucks pulled this one out. Now, I do agree with the listener that said this team does make them nervous. We're struggling. Yeah. And what I tell you about them pretty and gritty wins, Trey?
Hey, they count just as well.
Right, 100%. And so you definitely have to do that. Now we do have a trend here. We have a sample size where certain things are going to be turning out to be problematic. And I think, and I'm going to let you go in a second here, but one thing I do want to say is we have a couple of sectors of Bucks fans, right? There's Bucks fans who are looking at W's and L's, and there's Bucks fans who I think are like us and a lot of our listeners who are looking at down the road. Because quite honestly, we don't give a damn if this team wins 55 games, this team wins 51 games, this team wins 60 games. It doesn't really matter. What we're looking at is, how do we make it past that second round of the playoffs, that third round of the playoffs, and get another ring here in Milwaukee? And so I say that because there's a lot of Bucks fans who are like, well, what's the issue? We're still figuring this thing out. We're okay. But then a lot of Bucks fans are like, no, hang on. We have serious problems that I think teams are going to exploit, and we're going to need to clean this up if we're going to go deep.
So coming into the line and saying 39, he matched his career high tonight. So that was it. He matched the career high tonight. Warren Price says, yes, Boston struggled in in Charlotte, but we can't beat Boston. Things need to get tightened up before we even mention title contention. And again, I will push back. I'm not saying wrong, but I'll push back against that slightly. We didn't. Okay, Mike Budenholzer did not get fired because he won games in November. That is won and lost games. That is not why he got hired, or that's not why he got fired. Dr. Adrian Griffin did not get hired to win games in November. I don't care how we look against Washington. Now, again, there are trends that we have to take, and I agree with you. There are trends that you have to look at, and you got to fix and clean up here and there. But he's not getting paid to win games today. What's gonna show is when you get matched up against Miami, or you get matched up, and again, we're talking about first round stuff now, because we got to get past the first round. We didn't do that last year. So it's when you play the 8th seed or whoever it is, that's when you got to get to that. That's when Adrian Griffin's going to make his money. Dr. Griffin's going to make his money. That's what we're talking about here. So again, I can handle some of the issues. I'd rather some of these issues come out now and show themselves at this point in the season than show me in the playoffs when it happens. Now, again, I'll take the positives, because what it seemed like is the Bucks were very good under Mike Budenholzer at front running and winning when everything's all hunky-dory, and winning by 20 here, and look at the point differential. We're just blowing teams out. We're just so good. But when the going got tough and then the rubber hit the road late in basketball games, Bucks are like, oh my God, I don't know what we're doing. That trend has totally reversed. where the Milwaukee Bucks look like late in games, it doesn't matter what the score is, they're in total control. So I will take that every day over, well, we had some lapses here and lapses there. Again, the hope is that you're going to lock in, and we'll see what you're going to have to do. 100%. We'll definitely see. Pandemic says, how did it look when Chris exited the game? We're going to get to the Chris injury in one second. I do want to read this comment from J.R. Horva, who is J.R. Horva on Twitter is like I don't want to say he's a Bucks hater, but he's a Bucks fan, but he's one of those, he is on the glass half empty sides, like all the time. He says there are no more excuses for this pathetic defense. They are unprepared. They are unaware. They are not executing. That's on the players and the coach. Sorry, Griffin is not the answer. Sickening. So you do have, again, this segment of Bucks Twitter that like is just, hating on everything. And, I'm not going that far. And again, there's no reason why in November after Thanksgiving that you're crying about, oh my God, the end is falling. We hired the wrong coach. Let's talk after the All-Star break. And if these issues are continue, after the All-Star break, then we can have some of these conversations.
I 100% agree with you. I think at this point, listen, you're not even 25 games in. You're not even 20% of the season done. I'm not giving any credence to that. And I certainly think it's way too early to judge Dr. Griffin's competency at this point and whether or not he's the right guy. I mean, yeah, I'm not going to go there. Yes, the defense is an issue, right? Is it a significant problem at this point? Well, I mean, it hasn't necessarily held you back from winning most of these games here. And I think that even though this team has played poor defense, the offensive firepower, especially when it comes together in the fourth quarter, has certainly had the much bigger impact for the squad. So I'm not sounding the alarm bells yet, and I would encourage most Bucks fans to not do the same as well.
John Fish says, please adjust the mic volumes out. I'm gonna check and see if something's going on with the mics, but let me know in the comments if our mics what we need to do. I'm trying to run point guard here. We don't have a producer on the show, so it's just me trying to figure out the mic situation. So let me know if there are any issues with the microphones and the sounds. Tishipo Mokamela says we need an athletic defender on the wing before trade deadline. And again, that stuff I'm not disagreeing with you. I think that the Bucks will have to look at what they want to do. Let me ask this before we go into Chris Middleton, because we're going to go to Chris Middleton in 1 second here. Bobby Portis looks very expendable. He looked, again, there's 2 nights in a row, Bobby Portis looked very expendable. I'm just saying this. This is for everybody. But if you are if you are looking at how you're going to upgrade, you saying we need athletic defenders on the wing, well, obviously everybody's willing to give up Pat Connaughton, but he's just going to be a salary filler. You're not. Again, we have to think about this, strategically and intellectually. Pat Connaughton, nobody wants your trash. I'm not calling Pat Connaughton trash. Nobody's going to want Pat Connaughton. I mean, he's just going to be a salary filler. You got to give up something of interest, which is Bobby Portis, Andre Jackson Jr., Marjon Beauchamp. Those 3 guys are going to be, are the guys you're talking about. If you want to upgrade and get an athletic defender on the wing, those are the guys. So give me your thoughts on that. Does Bobby Portis look more expendable right now, John Tyus?
Here's my only counter argument is if you get rid of Bobby Portis, right? Who is your big that's coming off the bench?
Well, no, I agree with
you. You want Robin Lopez? If you think Bobby Portis looks bad, you want Robin Lopez coming? You want the Nass's playing extended minutes.
I agree.
I
agree. But I say just like you have a salary filler in Pat Connaughton, you'd have to have a salary filler in a guy who's just good enough. And yeah, you have to realize that your bigs are going to be Giannis and Brook, and then somebody's got to come in and kind of fill the void there. But here's the thing: in a playoff series, you're not going beyond those 2 as your bigs anyway. You see what I mean? You're not gonna have to go beyond those. And if you can play small ball. If you have Jay Crowder playing, I think Jay Crowder can play a 4 at small ball, right? I mean, I'm just saying.
That's true. But earlier this year, we were talking about how we thought Bobby did look a little bit better, at least defensively, and we thought that if Bobby keeps it up, he will be playable in the playoffs. Because that was our knock on Bobby Portis. Was he was a feel good, he was a fan favorite. Everybody loved Bobby when Bobby was doing great things. Bobby's doing Bobby things in the 5-star forum, and he has that place rocking, right? But then in the playoffs, it's like, where's he at? I'm seeing a whole lot of DNPs. I'm seeing Bobby Portis play 4 minutes. What's going on? Where's that impact, right? So that's the knock that I had on Bobby. But here's what I'll say. If we get 20 more games into this thing, and you're right, Bobby's still looking pretty shabby, or Bobby's just looking expendable, or Bobby's looking like a luxury, but not something that we need. He's not really meeting any of our team needs. Then I mean, you got to look at it now. I think as Bucks fans, we have to separate the emotion that we all have for Bobby Portis, because I mean, Milwaukee showed Bobby love, Bobby showed Milwaukee love, and people really, really, really like. Kind of the same with Pat Connaughton, except for this point, Pat Connaughton's decline just looks so palpable that it's like, all right, if we can upgrade, we're not going to miss him. We're not going to miss him at all. Whereas Bobby, I'm still a little bit on the fence though, because I still have seen this year overall, it's been up and down, but I've seen some impactful play from Bobby this year.
And I'd agree with that, but again, we're gonna have to see. Again, this is always it's fluid. It's gonna move, and we'll see what happens as this thing continues going on. Milwaukee's Philliest Goose, Bucks and Philly at Bucks and Philly says classic game against the Wizards. Seriously, look at the games in this series over the past several over the past several seasons. Almost always very high scoring. I won't say the Wizards have our number because we usually win, but they put up numbers. And again, sometimes those are teams. I think Orlando's a team that has kind of given the Bucks some trouble throughout the years. And again, this year they're actually pretty decent. But not neither here nor there. Some teams give you trouble. It seems like maybe the Wizards do some of that to us, but you do come out with the win and you'll take it. The Bucks do win 131-128 over the Washington Wizards. And now, let's get into the elephant in the room. Marvin Harnell Lee says all Chris needs to do is be healthy. I trade him to the Raps ASAP. Ursan Gofar says trade Chris and Marjan. Okay. Let's talk about this. So Chris Middleton goes to, in the third quarter, literally the beginning of the third quarter, goes to, and I'll pull up Chris Middleton's stats, and we're going to be here talking about this for a second. Chris Middleton went 7 points, 5 assists. He's put up high assist numbers. 12 minutes and 48 seconds into this game. And again, first minute in the third quarter, walks out gingerly with they said it was his left Achilles. So I believe, if I'm correct, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it was his right knee where he had surgery or the scope or whatever it was this offseason, and left Achilles is the injury. Now, again, we don't know how severe. I haven't listened to any post-game to hear how severe it is. He walked gingerly. Hopefully it's not an Achilles tear. I didn't hear anything of the sort that it was going to be like that. He just walked off. And usually, if somebody tears it, I think that's a pretty big moment. You're gonna show some impact before you just walk aside. I don't think that's. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say. So I tore my Achilles before, so I'm already knowing, right? Usually when you're tearing your Achilles, right, and it's a complete rupture, and that tendon rolls up into the calf, you can't really move that bottom foot, right? You're just kind of dragging that thing as well. And people saw that with Kobe. You remember when Kobe tore his Achilles and then shot that free throw as well. So, yeah, now having said that, though, the worst is the partial tear, because one, that's painful at that point. You still have those nerves and you can still feel it, and you just kind of got to hope that heals on its own. That would be the worst. A complete rupture, you have the surgery, and then you're back on your Aaron Rodgers, you're back on your rehab.
So they called it, and Deshaun Hill on the YouTube says they said it was just Achilles tightness. So again, I'll take it for the word. Like I said, I didn't think it didn't look like he tore it or anything like that to me. It's like he just walked off and had an Achilles injury. So, but here's your issue, John Tyus, and again, people got mad at me on Twitter because I've been talking about this since forever, since the offseason. Again, you could see it a mile away. You could see this coming from a mile away, and if you didn't, you're blind. People kept telling me, I'm on the Twitter, on X, whatever you want to call it. They're sitting there looking at me, John Tyus. I'm like, off-season starts, Chris Middleton not fully available. Okay. Then he says, but it showed that first press conference Dr. Griffin had where he told the lie or this kind of half-truth, and they asked him about Chris, and he like, what do you mean, Chris? What do you mean he's hurt? No, he's participating. And it was real fumble. And right then I said, hold on, that don't sound right. That doesn't sound right. Because there's no competitive advantage for, this isn't a playoff game. This isn't the NFL playoffs where, you don't know if the star wide receiver's playing tonight. You got a game plan. Is the quarterback going to be 100%? I don't know. That's not what this is. You're starting, again, the season doesn't even hardly start till freaking after the All-Star break. You're not getting no competitive advantage to start the year off because whether or not Chris Middleton's playing on a minutes restriction or not. That's not a thing. We're gonna find out whether he's on a minutes restriction as soon as he comes in. So when he plays 15 minutes the first night, every other opponent after that's gonna know he's on a minutes restriction. So that doesn't do anything. But then Chris Middleton comes in and lies and says, well, yeah, I'm going to play 2 preseason games. And he played 1. And they say, oh, that's part of the plan. I said, no, it's not. Nobody, so I'm like, this part of a plan, it's never part of a plan where the medical staff knows what's going on, but the player doesn't. And they're not communicating. And so one person says one thing, and then they do another. That's not a plan. That means either somebody had a plan, or that somebody didn't know the plan, or that there was a setback within the plan that you had. That's the only situations you could have there. So then you fast forward, and Chris Middleton says, "Oh, well, I'll be playing full go by about 7-8 games." And that we at game 15, and he just went 28 minutes the other night. And I don't think that was full go because if you look at the minutes, they don't do this like Bud's minutes. Those guys routinely go up over 30 minutes. They did it tonight. Giannis and Dame. So it's clear that something is bothering him. Now, what people want to say was, well, no, he's 100%, but they're just being cautious with him. That's all it is. No. Something is wrong. And even tonight, you have people who still won't admit it. I don't revel in this. I don't want Chris Middleton to be hurt. I want him to be 100%. But you can see that he can't move laterally well. You can see this. It's not, now he's still shooting the ball well. He can still shoot that mid-range jumper. He can still do that with ease. Do it in his sleep. But that's what we're talking. And then we go back to the ramp up, John, where it's not normal for guys to ramp up from 20 minutes to 22 minutes. That's not a ramp up. That's not so something's going on. And then so tonight I'm like, well, we knew this was going to happen at some point, and it's you can't take a victory lap on that because it's not his right knee, it's his left Achilles. Like, dude. And I forget who gave me, and I told him I was going to use this on the guy who told us on Twitter. Because I talked about this. I had in college, I had a growing injury. Right, I had a growing injury on like my right groin, and I kept playing through it. Right, because I wasn't no star. I wasn't a star in college. I couldn't sit out. I had to play. I had to keep going. So I'm like, yeah, I'm practicing. I'm doing everything, and I'm trying to stay on it. And then what happened, JT? My left groin started hurting because I'm overcompensating with my left leg. And then I stretched back. Boom! Now I got a right hammy a week after that. So it's like it's shifting leg to leg with injuries. And so it doesn't matter that it shifted from leg to leg. The analogy I give you, and somebody else said this on Twitter, so I'll give him full credit for it. It's like a car, right? And once that alternator goes, and you have to replace that alternator, the car don't magically. We just replaced the alternator and it's just cool, clean bill of health. No. Once that car, and again, Chris Middleton's in 31 or whatever it is. Once that car gets some miles up on it. And again, Chris Middleton, wait a minute, he played the Olympics. That's what I said. Don't play them Olympics, Chris. Don't do it, Chris. When you play, now you hurt. Yeah. Again, I don't like it, but I'm just saying. I said not to do it, and you did. That's why I tell Giannis, don't play, Giannis. You're going to get hurt. So, but I'll let you one second. I'm sorry, I'm rambling. But here you go. So once the alternator goes, John, what happened? Then the engine belt goes. Did you fix now the engine belt? Oh, now it's the engine belt. Okay, what's on?
The transmission goes, and it becomes the electrical problems.
The brake pad's not working. Like something, you're always going to be fixing that car. And
True.
you can deny it all you want, John. You can deny it all you want. I'm not talking to you, I'm saying to other people. You can deny this all you want, but this is a problem. He is injured. And what we're hoping at this point, John, is that, man, can I get one more cross country ride up out of you, out of old Brucey? Can I get one more cross country ride up out? Can I drive from here across 3, 4, 5 states and get there and before we let you down? Because the Bucks are facing this issue right now where you're very close to having to let Chris Middleton down, and we'll see the severity of this. But if I don't revel in it, John, but I wonder what your thoughts are on where we are on this Chris Middleton thing. And hopefully it's an injury that doesn't take long. But if you thought they were cautious before, what they gonna do now? This got to be 5-10. Let me not make predictions. I don't know. But if your whole thing is, oh, they don't let him because they're so cautious. Well, what are you gonna do now? Now his left Achilles is hurt. How do you play that?
Listen, at left Achilles tightness, that is a red flag. Don't let nobody fool you. It does not sound like a big deal, but if that Achilles is tight, that is a problem. That's how you tear that thing, right? If it's calf tightness, Achilles, and a lot of people who actually have torn their Achilles will tell you, yeah, I was feeling tightness at one point. I kept trying to stretch it. And that thing went. I have a couple of concerns here, though. I think here's the first concern. There is this big three that we all envisioned of Giannis, Dame, and Chris, right? But I think at this point, although we're only, roughly 16 games into the season, that third big three spot, there's an audition for it. You got to say, look, we haven't necessarily given away his spot yet, but you got to say that, look, I mean, there's an audition for it, right? Like that third spot is going to be interchangeable. And one of our listeners said that early on. Giannis, Dame, and Brook might be the big three. And I actually, I mean, I don't disagree with that because at this point, your best ability is availability. And Chris Middleton's availability is questionable. Like whatever side you're on, you have to admit that. The next issue I have, though, is that when you look at a lot of players, and this is across many different sports, but when you look at a lot of players and you look at injuries that zap their explosion and zap their ability to move the way they could prior to the injury, it's usually one of three things, right? It's your ankle, knee, and hip. That's where all your power generally is coming from, right? Once you start chipping away at one of those, right, the knees get bad. Okay, you start to see skills diminish. The ankles get bad, you start to see things diminish. Guys have hip injuries, you start to see things diminish, right? So there's two questions I have here. One, is Chris Middleton healthy, right? Will he be healthy this year for an extended period of time? We don't know at this point. The second thing is, when Chris Middleton is quote unquote healthy, are we going to see the guy that we knew before, or are we going to have to get used to some sort of new Chris Middleton, right? Because if it's the latter, then this big three thing, I mean, I don't know. Maybe you put Brook in there, right? Maybe somebody can step up and become that. Maybe we make a trade. Maybe we make a look here. I'm not really sure. But what I do want to say is, based on what I'm seeing right now from Chris, Bucks fans need to get prepared to start seeing just a whole lot of interchangeable moving parts here until we can get this thing figured out.
Yeah, no, I'm totally there with you. Again, this is an outlier game, obviously, for Brook Lopez, but again, it's 2 games in a row where he played, very well, and Brook seems to be finishing around the basket. And I think the other, we talk about how big the Dame and Giannis thing is for each other. It's also working for Brook as well because, again, you think about it, the more attention you pay to Giannis, the more attention you pay to Dame, somebody's going to benefit from that. And the guy we talked about, you talk about the big three, we thought the guy was going to benefit from that. It was Chris Middleton, but he can't stay on the floor. So the guy that's really benefiting from it is Brook Lopez because he's found a way to continue to score the ball and continue to get himself to the basket and get easy layups, easy dunks. And then he's shooting the ball at a high clip too. He's shooting the 3-ball and knocking them down. So, as long as he can continue to do that, that's good. And I think, he'll continue to have some that level of success with these guys in the game with Giannis and Dame. But back to Chris, I mean, I just don't know where you go. I mean, because again, so I'm reading, it says 11 King says if we keep Chris, hard to trade him. We're not going anywhere unless he adjusts his game and becomes more of a hustle player, rebounder, and playmaker. Okay, I can tell you right, that's not happening. You don't get to 31 on bad lower extremities and become the hustle guy, the rebound guy. That's not how that goes. You just described hustle player, rebounder. You described Andre Jackson Jr. That's not Chris Middleton ain't reverting to, let me make the hustle plays. No, Chris Middleton, if he's going to be anything for the Milwaukee Bucks, is give him the ball in the post up, back you down, get to a spot, and can he hit that mid-range consistently? Can he hit that spot up 3 consistently? Can he give you 20 points on, limited effort? Because the hustle plays and everything, they're going to be few and far between.
Well, it's 100%, right? That's what I was going to say. Is it sounds to me like with a hustle play, you need explosion to be able to do that, though, right? Like you need some explosion to be able to do that. And Chris just was not moving well before this happened. And I'm just not convinced that they're going to rest him and he's going to come back and be spry. I'm not sure, guys. I'm really starting to doubt that we do see the peak Chris return, right? The Chris that we've all gotten used to. I'm just not sure that guy comes back. What did he play last year? 33 games?
I think that's right. I think that's it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think Chris will play prayerfully, right? Chris will play more than 33 games this year. But again, when we talk about
But what's 33 games if you only playing if you can't get over 20 minutes, 25 minutes?
That's exactly my point.
And again, and let me ask this, John. Does it surprise you? I don't know if I said this or not. Does it not surprise you that this is the first game back from playing? You talk about a ramp up. You talk about a ramp up, and Chris plays 28 minutes last night of the other against Boston, and the first game back he can't make it over a half.
No, I know that's not a coincidence. There's no irony in that. Like, no, there's no, and yeah, there's a lot of Bucks Twitter that gets mad at you and mad at us on the show with T's and Q's and everything because we're pointing the obvious out here. But guys, like at some point we got to replace optimism with realism a little bit, right? We got to be real at some point.
That's right. And again, I'm optimistic. Again, what I'm optimistic is that he'll get to the playoffs. Because I thought last year got to the playoffs and played very well. Is that you can get him to the playoffs healthy and he can play well. I'm optimistic. Again, it's that can I get that last car? Because I'm optimistic when I hop in that car and I know it's got issues. I don't need to die down on me in the middle of Route 66, right? In the middle of the desert, in the middle of wherever. That can't be where the car dies. And so by virtue of me jumping in the car and starting the ignition, I've got some optimism. So I don't want it to feel like that I've like lost faith. But because that's the other thing, we talked about that as well, John, is like there's not a lot of there aren't a lot of good options to like, let's say replace. There just aren't. It's gonna be very hard to do, and you're gonna be no matter what. If you try, you're gonna be getting pennies on a dollar. And I don't think you can. I really don't think you can do it. I think your best bet is going to be that Chris Middleton, returns in some way and can play at a high level. Again, is it peak Chris? Probably not. But can you get something closer? Can you get 18, 19, 20 points a night out of him in playoff series? Again, he can still hit shots. Like shooting a jumper is like riding a bike. Can he get to his spots? Can he hit those shots? He's shown he could do that in limited minutes and pass the ball effectively as well. Can I get him there healthy, and can he do that? So the Bucks, they win the battle tonight and potentially lose, some of the war in a 131-128 victory. I'll give you the last word on Chris Middleton.
What I will say is, listen, if this Chris Middleton thing starts looking even more shaky, right? I think at the minimum you 100% got to look at least trying to get another sharpshooter, right? And that means you're trading Pat, you're putting together some packages. I don't like the thought of trading because I think one of our listeners addressed this. I don't like I don't like the thought of trading MarJon at this point, just because I think he's a project. You still develop him. He's your first round pick. There's a lot of potential there. This thing could work out. Having said that, if somebody wants Pat and MarJon and the person is good enough, right? Then I think the return is good enough or valuable enough. You got to think about it. You 100% got to think about it. You got to start listening. I would at least argue that too. And I think even Andre Jackson Jr. I love his presence. Limited minutes. He's a rookie. He's still developing, right? And if he has played and other teams are interested, I think you listen. I would be slow to pull the trigger on a trade for Andre Jackson Jr. Because again, he's only been here very, very, and I think he can play a key role for the Bucks at some point this season. And you do want to have some that you do need some guys that can defend and you can put in situationally that maybe they give you 10 minutes, but boy, they're giving that team hell for that 10 minutes, right? Like maybe you do. You don't want to trade away all your depth, but yeah, I mean, I think you're going to have to listen to a trade package for Pat and either MarJon and Andre Jackson Jr., even though I don't like it.
Yeah, no, I hesitate on Andre Jackson Jr. because I think again, you're talking about a team that needs defense, and it's just something that I agree with things to think about, and nobody is above taking a call on. And the Bucks are in a win now situation. That's where they're at. I do want to, what is it? Ursan Gofar says Ben Simmons, at least he can pass. Absolutely not. Ben Simmons hasn't played since Giannis dunked on his head. Ben Simmons is just, you talk about a guy that's broken down. Ben Simmons is like, he's Chris Middleton, but in the head. Like it's a wrap for him mentally. His mental is broken down. His mental car cannot start. He's done.
they would chase Ben. The first time Ben Simmons got a wide open dunk, wide open layup, and finds a man, the past two on the perimeter. Nope. They're going to say, get that man out of here. Get that man out of here. You better not. I can't. And you know what? I think Ben Simmons as a player, especially like defensively, I think he probably can do some good things, but yeah, I don't know if you want to bring that energy into that locker room. I don't know about that.
Ben Simmons is a good player if he's playing like Ben Simmons, but the issue is ever since that series I think Philadelphia had against the Hawks a few years ago, where he refused to take dunks under the basket when Trae Young was on him. He's cooked.
Life is just beating him up.
Yeah, exactly.
Life is beating him up.
Snakey 973 says Buck's not looking too good at all. See, that stuff. I disagree with that. I mean, there are certain, I don't even want to say problems. Like, again, there's certain issues that jump out that, hey, they're not good at this phase or that phase, and okay, that's fine. But when you say they don't look good at all, like what are we talking about? You have wins against Philly, you have wins against you have a good win, of course, against Dallas. You've played Boston strong, lose by 3. You've beaten a bunch of teams you need to beat. You lost to really only the bad loss you've had this year was to Orlando Toronto. Atlanta and Toronto. I agree. Atlanta and Toronto are your bad losses. Indiana's a good team, and you lost to Indiana without Damian Lillard. So I think, with Dame Lillard, and again Middleton played as well tonight. I want to say the Bucks are like 7-1 or 8-1. I know Middleton went out early, but the Bucks are like 8-1, 7-1 when those 3 play. So no, I'm not going to say that they're not looking too good at all. They look fine. And again, we said this earlier, they're not playing to win games in November. The 11 King says Caruso is also injury prone. He is. Marty Moose says, I ain't giving up Ajax for nobody. He's our future all-star. Let's get Chris Middleton on LeBron's super secret juice. He may be on some juice. And then Marvin Harnell Lee says, we don't need to replace Chris for the same player. We can swap him for better fitting pieces in Griff's system who play consistently. Absolutely. And then Tish is telling everybody to follow and like the show. Absolutely. Hit the like button.
Yes. Salute to Tish.
Yes. Again, you're tuned into the Cream City crossover. It was a 131-128 victory over the Washington Wizards. We'll keep going into the program here and get to our player of the game, who was Brook Lopez. I mean, I can't say enough about Brook Lopez tonight. In 32 minutes, 39 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, 3 blocks. But get this, the efficiency, mind-blowing. 14 of 17 for 82%. He was 4 of 7 for 3. He was 7 for 7 from the line. So the only 3 misses Brook Lopez had were from three-point range. He goes, I guess that's, if you take away 4, he goes, what? I'm not even going to try to do the math. But anyway, he was, again, he only missed 3 shots that were all from 3. Everything else he makes inside the paint, and I guess inside the 3-point line. So it was an incredible night from Brook Lopez. He had timely plays all over. The only thing I guess that I can even criticize Brook Lopez on, I thought he still does too many of the tap outs, but Brook Lopez absolutely saved the Milwaukee Bucks tonight and was a key factor, the key factor in winning that basketball game. So just a shout out and salute to your Cream City crossover player of the game tonight, Brook Lopez.
100%. I echo that 1,000. I was very impressed by Brook tonight, and really been impressed with Brook by the last couple games. I think he's shown from work. He's been a big body, right? He's been a guy who's just been pushing guys around. I thought you was going to pause me there, so I use my words wisely. But but I thought he's pushed guys around. He's done a great job, I think, of being 7 feet. And he's hitting his shots, right? He's hitting his shot. He led the team in 3-pointers tonight, by the way. Yeah. Again, this is the 3rd or 4th time this year where we've seen Brook Lopez lead the team in 3-pointers, right? Because I think he made 4 for 7 or something like that from the field. I think that's right. He was 4 for 7. So I thought Brook looked great, and I think Brook could be one of our X factors, honestly, because again, as a big man down low, I just don't think there's so many guys when Brook is at his best that can hold him down there. And, obviously people are going to devote a lot of resources to stopping Giannis and maybe even Dame, and that may leave favorable matchups for Brook. So as long as he can take advantage of them, absolutely love it. He really didn't even – interesting thing tonight, though, is Brook puts up 39 points. If I told you Brook puts up 39 points with 5 rebounds, would you be like, how's that right? Like you would think,
It's
wait,
career
hang on.
high. Yeah, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
And honestly, if you told me that, well, I guess 4 threes is 12 points. I probably would have thought he would have scored more from three. I probably would have thought that because I just again, it makes more sense if you get into the basket using what I say feet work. It's a lot of feet work. You can't do nothing off one foot. Feet work from Brook Lopez. Again, get to the basket, get to your spots, lay the ball up. He has very nice touch around the rim. He's just extremely efficient tonight. Really, really good. And he should dominate against games, like I said, against Daniel Gafford tonight, who was on in Washington. You got, like I said, he played very well against Boston the other night. Kristaps Porzingis. Body these guys, like you said, you are as Marty Moose says, Brooks is 7'1", 300-pound monster. Go ahead and use that body to get to your spots, get where you want, and assert your dominance and your will in the basketball game, and that's what he did tonight.
100%, and he is a large reason why the Bucks dominated points in the paint tonight, 72-58.
Yeah,
need that. Love that. And again, I know, guys, I sound like the old man, right? But 7 for 7 from the 3-point line, 7 from 7 from the line. You got to make your free throws. Salute to Brook going 7-7 tonight. Great job.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, a lot of shout out to Giannis for hitting those 2 free throws at the end, too. He didn't shy away from it. He got the ball, and he could have tried to pass it, but he wanted the ball late and hit those clutch free throws. D-Cole123 says, why is our defense so bad with a defensive-minded coach? He needs to adjust his philosophy to the team. Well, D-Cole, if you remember, Dr. Griffin had changed his defensive philosophy, and then the guys wanted to run the drop, and so that they run the drop right now. And again, it works at times, but again, you talk about why it's so bad with defensive minded. I don't think it's the philosophy. I don't care what your defensive philosophy or schemes are. If you don't take some pride and some effort in getting into a defensive position, sitting down, getting wide, and getting a low base, and sliding your feet, and not letting guys run straight past you, it doesn't matter what scheme you're in. Guys are running past. People are running past guys. Like that's one of your problems. So it might just be a personnel issue that you just when you look down that bench, do you have the defensive guys? Period. That's some of your question. And again, you put Chris in the lineup. Chris ain't trying to slide his feet. Guys aren't running around and trying to get through screens like they need to. Those are some of the issues that I see when I look at this team. Again, I think the scheme, I don't necessarily think it's the scheme thing anymore as much as, because again, he changed the scheme back to mainly what a lot of the Bucks are doing with Mike Budenholzer. Like we're running a lot of that stuff now. So I guess that's my thing on that. Guys got to be committed and willing to sitting down. And again, that last 3 that Shamet had that he should have hit that he had was wide open in the game. A lot of miscommunications as well. I don't know I can't tell you what the cause is of that. I will say again, I think the effort is there from a lot of guys. I do think the effort is there from a lot of guys, but can they actually do it? And that we haven't seen it yet. It remains to be seen. But again, I do think they do a decent job of it late in basketball games. It just hasn't happened throughout the course of entire 48 minutes.
Yeah, I would say I agree with you. I'm not ready to say the scheme is a problem as much as personnel. Having said that, I feel like I say this every other comment. You do have Jay Crowder on the bench, and how does that change things schematically when he returns? You got to think that it may make things a little bit easier for your perimeter guys, maybe, hopefully. So that's one thing. But the other thing is too. I mean, look, Beasley. I don't think what's Beasley 6'2"? He's listed as 6'4". So what's that mean? 6'2"?
6'3", yeah, 6'2".
Right, he probably 6'2", 6'3", put his shoes on and like, all right, cool, right? And what's Dame, 6'1"? Like, I mean, you just don't have very big guys, even though we did see we saw some hustle on D, I think the other night from Dame. You have a problem here, right? Because if you put in Marjan, can you put in Marjan and Andre Jackson Jr.? Yeah, I mean, you maybe, right? But I think you put those guys in, you lose a lot offensively at this point. So it's just going to be ugly, I think, until you get Crowder coming back, and then you can figure some things out. But having said that, like as I said earlier, I'm 100% open to seeing who we could potentially bring in.
Marty Moose says Wizards shot 40% from three, Bucks shot 29% and still won. That says a lot. It absolutely does. So again, they're finding ways to win basketball games. They play again on Sunday afternoon against the Portland Trailblazers. That should be another win for the Bucks you can put on the schedule. And then you come back, you got Miami again, and we'll get into some of that, the implications for the in-season tournament. The Bucks now have the Bucks now. It's incredible. We'll talk about the in-season tournament, but incredible that the Bucks look like they're gonna have an inside track because Miami lost tonight to the Knicks. They have an inside track to that spot to winning it all. I'm not sure what all the implications are from them losing, but I know they have to have an inside track because now they're undefeated in pool play and no one else is. We thought we were gonna have a big matchup. Maybe it won't be as big anymore. At least not for first place. I don't know how it works or what the point tie is, differential. I don't know how it works, but we'll see how it goes. But big stuff for the Milwaukee Bucks in terms of that as well. Let's talk about Thanksgiving, John Tyus. How was yours? I won't belabor the point and go too long into it. As like I said, we're pushing up on time. But how was your Thanksgiving, man?
Man, Thanksgiving was cool. I told you, I am on the anti-turkey movement. I don't like it. I don't get down with it. I don't want it. I mean, turkey's cool to me for a maximum of about 2 hours. I don't want to eat it tomorrow. I don't want to eat it Saturday. I don't want to eat it Sunday. So what we did was we just right, absolutely. So yeah, we threw some ribeyes and some sirloins on there for the meat and was cool with it. We said, all right, this is how we gonna do it, and it worked out. Obviously, your sides, you gotta have your greens, your sweet potatoes, your mashed potatoes. I'm big on Hawaiian rolls right now.
Yeah,
man, them Hawaiian rolls. Yeah. What them Hawaiian rolls, man? They're definitely legendary, man. But I didn't have any yak last night, so man,
Oh, you
had
okay. Okay.
No cognac, man. Had a sober Thanksgiving, man.
Okay. There you go. Yeah, no, mine was cool. Man, the wife cook did an excellent job. I'm with you on the no turkey thing, man. I like the I'm on the ham. Get that good. Got good moist. That moist ham. You don't want it to be dry. Oh, yeah. Good moist in there, and then and some got some, you got the yams, you got your you got your I had the broccoli cheese casserole was fire, and macaroni and cheese was fire.
Okay.
So yeah, man, it was good. Grandma, my uncle came over, so we hosted, did a little bit of hosting, so it was all good, and so we had a good time. Enjoyed ourselves. The kids are doing what they do, so it seemed like they had a good time as well. So Thanksgiving was beautiful, it was wonderful, and now we move on to the Christmas season, and that's the official time. I know our tree was already up, so we ain't had to do that, but neighbors got up the Grinch stuff and all the decorations, and so it's always fun to have kids around the holidays, right?
Man, definitely, man. But no baked beans on Thanksgiving. You have any baked beans? Yeah, nah, man. Yeah, I tried to.
Catch me in a bathroom like that.
No, we didn't make baked beans, man. I wanted to, and I lobbied for it, but also wanted to sleep in the room last night, so I didn't want to. Right? You know what I'm saying? Baked beans, right? Create clouds over the bed, man, and I'll stop there.
Clouds.
Yeah, right. You don't want that to happen, but nah. Yeah, I mean, again, like Christmas, it's kids' holiday, and kids love it. Our tree is up.
Yep. There you go.
Our tree is up, even though I do argue that Thanksgiving deserves its own season. So we try to push that as late as possible. And curious what our listeners think, man, because there's people that want to go to war over Christmas versus Thanksgiving being the same holiday. There's people who think, you're eligible to start getting in the Christmas spirit and listening to Christmas music and putting your decorations up the day after Halloween. And I just feel like that is psychotic behavior, but I respect it if that's how y'all feel.
Well, yeah, and now the Christmas music definitely is that get that Temptations Christmas.
Oh, you was listening at the day after Halloween?
Pretty quickly.
Oh wow.
In my mind. Okay. Seth Wolf at He Mansa says, all of a sudden Giannis thinks he's a finesse player going to the hoop. Get the F out. Go hard or go home, son. almost cost us dearly 2 games in a row. Portis is god awful 2 games in a row. Defense gonna give me nightmares. Listen, I don't disagree with some of my issues with Giannis. I mean, like then he had the ball slip out of his hands late in the game. I'm just like, dog.
It's got oil on it. The ball's got oil on it.
How many times? I mean, all these finger rolls, like dunk the ball, man. Y'all 7 feet and trying to hit layups like you Kyrie Irving. Dunk the basketball, man. Like I just don't get it. I mean, your hands. How does the ball slip out of your hands? It's like a Nerf ball. How does a Nerf ball slip out of your hands? Your hands that big. I don't get some of that stuff. Some of the little things just irk me. I think this thing. Again, I've talked about the low basketball IQ. But neither here nor there. The Bucks get the win. I will take it. I'll
you know what it is?
What's up? What is it?
Giannis was with old boy this summer. What's my man's name? Hakeem the Dream, doing all that mess, right? Because Hakeem the Dream had all the fundamentals and all the technique and everything, and he was real smooth with it. Yes, he would throw it down from time to time, but that's not really Giannis's game. Giannis is a power player. Giannis is a brute force, and right now he's still balling. But yeah, I agree. I'd love to see him. I'd love to see him just throw that thing down. Quite honestly, right? I'd love to see much less layups and just dunk it, just dunk through people.
Yeah, it's not the ball.
Literally.
A 131-128 victory. The Milwaukee Bucks beat the Wizards. They improved to 11-5. San Antonio Spurs are down 4 now to the Warriors. That's on ESPN. 56-55 Pelicans and Clippers. The Pelicans are up at the half. The Orlando Magic beat the Boston Celtics tonight, 113-96. The Orlando Magic are 11-5, John Tyus. They're playing some good basketball. The Phoenix Suns improved to 10-6 and beat the Memphis Grizzlies. Toronto Raptors 121-108 over the Chicago Bulls. The New York Knicks, talk about all the in-season tournament games tonight. New York Knicks beat the Miami Heat 100-98. I believe they erased like a 20-point deficit. So yeah, in this game, the Knicks outscored the Heat 29-11 in the fourth quarter to win that basketball game. Jimmy Butler finished with 23, but it was Jalen Brunson late. 24 3-3. RJ Barrett put in 18-7. So I guess the Bucks will control their own destiny in the in-season tournament game that's on Tuesday against Miami. Kings won 124-111 over the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Denver Nuggets dropped another one. How about the Houston Rockets? John Tyson, man, monster numbers from Nikola Jokic, 38, 19, and 8. But the Houston Rockets 105-86 over the Denver Nuggets. Now again. Everybody keeps talking about the Bucks. Oh, the Bucks don't look good. I don't know why nobody's talking about Denver. They 10-6 and they've lost some games. But how about the Houston Rockets 8-6 right now? The Indiana Pacers win 136-113 over the Detroit Pistons. So some interesting scores around the league.
Yeah, look, I'm not surprised at all with the Rockets. I mean, we knew Udoka was a tremendous coach. There was no question about that. The only problem with him was, can he have an office at the facility? Right? Like, does he got to work remote when you're not at practice? Right? That's the only issue you have with the dunk. I mean, it's just no. But I do think that the sky's not falling for Denver for some reason, and I'm not sure exactly what that is. But by no means I don't see this panic for Denver. Although they're 10-6, right? It's just not. I mean, again, But I will say this: the Heat scoring 11 points in the fourth. That's ugly. That's ugly.
Jimmy.
That might be one of the worst quarters in basketball we've seen this year so far out of any team.
Yeah, Mr. This is the in-season tournament. I play hard. All right. Robert Henry says the Nuggets are missing Jamal Murray. They are. But the Bucks have been playing on. That's the thing. That's what I mean is the Bucks don't get those same excuses for whatever it is when Chris Middleton's clearly injured. They're not working with a full game of the players as well. So no, I'm not giving you that. And Chris Middleton again was just as important as a number 2 piece on a title championship team as Jamal Murray was. And again, we don't get that excuse doesn't pertain to the Milwaukee Bucks. That's my whole point is that they don't get that whole Stephen A. Smith was on talking about how you saw that argument that Giannis and Adrian Griffin had When Giannis wanted to come out of game, when Dr. Griffin wanted Giannis to come out, and Giannis didn't want to come out, and they had a little discussion about it. Which again, nothing. Stephen A. Smith on First Take this morning. Oh well, they're gonna replace you, Griff. You better do. I'm like, dude, shut. The media doesn't do that to everybody else for whatever reason. They pick on the Bucks. I don't get that.
Well, look, if you don't watch any Bucks games, right, or if you watch a handful of Bucks games, you know who these guys are. You have, basically, you know who the majority of the starters are, and you watch the team play 5 times a year. You're not going to know much at all, right? So, like, I love it when Stephen A. Smith wants to give an informed opinion when he's clearly like uninformed. He's clearly misinformed here. Like, you don't understand the whole reason why Adrian Griffin's here in the first. What is he doing? Like, why do you like? What is the point of just saying stuff to say stuff? Literally, you could have just glossed right on over this and kept this thing pushing. You really could have.
Yeah, no, 100%. A couple things we'll get to before we get out of here. One, did you see Greg Popovich the other night telling the home crowd to stop booing Kawhi Leonard? I thought it was whack. Again, as long as they're not saying anything profane or out of line or as long as the guy you want to come to a basketball game and boo people, I don't have any problem with it, and boo former players. I just thought Pop was totally out of line, and I'm glad the fans didn't listen to him. They kept booing. You can boo people while they shoot a free throw. I don't know who Pop thinks he is. Like I said, to me, the game is Pop pass, Pop by. You got the demigod, as people call him, and they can't win a game. They look absolutely terrible over there in San Antonio. So I don't want to hear from Pop, man. Give the reins up to somebody else. The game's over. It's passed you by. Go out somewhere. You had a great run in San Antonio. Let it go. I'm done with Pop. Always giving people cultural lessons. I don't have to hear it all the time. And to this time, he was just totally wrong, telling people they can't boo. They paid their hard-earned money.
Hey man, Pop and Bill Belichick. Those are two coaching icons in this generation. Both of which the game has left them.
Let it go.
Right? Like they not leaving the game. The game has left them. Greg Pop. Why? Why would you get on the mic and you're gonna tell your home crowd that they can't express themselves however they want towards a player that clearly did not want to be there? Yes, he helped deliver a championship to San Antonio, but San Antonio had what, four rings since 2020. Or since 2000, right? They had like 4 championships since 2000. Nobody cares. Like, get out of here with that mess, man. So, yeah, I thought that was a real corny move of Pop.
Getting on the mic, talking to people. Robert Henry says, Pop's like Belichick, time to move on for sure. And then last, did you see the Josh Giddey news out of OKC? That's tough for so many reasons.
Josh Giddey.
Because OKC they're having a great season. They're having this resurgence. They're looking like some contenders. They're looking like they can play some basketball, and again, they are playing some really good ball right now. Just as a group, you look at they're 11-4. They're second in the Western Conference, and then this comes up with the underage stuff that started on Twitter. So I won't delve too much into it. And so I think it was announced today that the NBA is going to look into the Josh Giddey stuff that came out on Twitter. But apparently he was involved. I don't know if he's like dating or talking to, or there's some stuff to come out about him with a young girl that's in high school or allegedly. So
allegations of inappropriate activity with a minor at this point is what that looks like.
So again, but there's nothing. So a lot of it seems like this. It's come from the internet where they're just regular pictures with the guy, and he's like calling a baby. I don't know. I don't claim to know, but again, this investigation is going to play out. We'll see if it's confirmed that this is like a high school, type. That's going to be an issue, and you're going to have to sit out 100%. You have some legal issues as well. So again, I don't claim to know everything that's going on in the situation, but they are investigating and they'll figure this thing out.
Here's what I need. I need an unequivocal, flat-out denial. That's what I need from Josh Giddey. The whole, no comment. No, sir. I need you to get up in front of these people and say, this, nothing happened. This is crazy. You need to go ahead. Because even if there's a sliver of truth to this, that is an awful, awful look for Josh Giddey. Well, and this better not be true.
That was the issue, John, was today they had the press conference, and it was interesting after practice today, and he gave a no comment. It wasn't, it's just like, why do you make him available to the media and the coach available to the media and not be prepared to make any type of a comment?
No, I wholly agree with that. Why would you set that man up here, right? Because I'll tell you, he failed today. That because that no comment says a lot right now, right? That no comment that Josh Giddey gave you, man, you open up the
Yeah.
door for a whole lot of people to start questioning a whole lot of things. And this is one of those things where there should be no question about this. Like this really shouldn't, So if I haven't heard anything about charges yet, like I haven't seen anything about criminal charges or civil, civil suits or anything like that going. My understanding is that someone logged onto, I think it was either Twitter, or Instagram. They dropped these pictures and immediately deactivated the account.
Yeah, sounds like somebody had something
And
against them to try. Yeah,
yeah,
we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Last comments coming in onto the Twitter. It says when you have 3 stars, each scoring 30 over 30, and you still struggle against a 2-10 team, something isn't going well. What is it? Again, I disagree because you're winning other games as well. So you can make that comment, but you're winning other games. So it's not like you're only beating Washington. Again, that's my thing. That's not the only team you're beating. So I guess that's the whole thing on that. At 59, Isaiah says, gotta close out games better. Other than that, a win is a win. Those are tough every night in the NBA. And the last one we'll do is the Heart 96 just says horrible defense. So again, Bucks fans not impressed with some of the defensive effort from the Bucks tonight, but it is what it is. And the Bucks do get a victory, 131-128 over the Washington Wizards. JT, give you the final word before we get up out of here.
hey, as I always tell y'all, we take the pretty wins with the gritty wins. And at the end of the day, it was ugly. You saw some good things offensively from this team. We've identified some issues here so far. The issues, we're still able to our offense, our Dame and Giannis can cover up a lot, and we're seeing that in the fourth quarter, especially in that last 6-7 minutes. And I would expect a lot more of the same at this point. So hang in there, Bucks fans. And again, we are still 11-5, 11-6, right? We're in good shape. We're still in good shape despite all this. Got to definitely monitor the Chris situation, but keep the faith, guys.
Keep the faith until the
Keep the
last.
faith.
Keep the faith until the last amen. I like it. I like it. Shout out to the Packers getting a dub on Thanksgiving as well. Jordan Love look like a quarterback. JT look like a quarterback out there in Packer land. Like they got something. Bucks win it. It's a final from the Cream City crossover. 131-128 over the Washington Wizards. This has been a Cream City Media Group production. Appreciate you. Don't take no wooden nickels. We'll be back. We're off. We are off on Sunday afternoon against the Trailblazers. I think the next game we'll be back, I think it's that Tuesday against the Miami Heat. So don't take no wooden nickels. Courage.